Joe Rogan is one of the most controversial celebrities working today. In the process of building his eclectic career, he's faced quite a few hardships. Joe Rogan grew up in Newark, New Jersey, where his father, A. Joseph Rogan, worked as a police officer. Joe didn't spend much time with his dad, but has described him as abusive toward his mother. The podcaster also said he had his own violent outbursts as a child, which his father supported. The comedian told Rolling Stone that he once punched a cousin in the face, and instead of getting angry, his father asked if he cried. When Joe said he hadn't, his dad only said, "Good, don't ever cry." That was a minor incident in the Rogan household, and these days, the podcaster doesn't like talking about his father. He described his childhood with his dad as confusing, calling his father violent and scary. Without much elaboration, Joe explained in his Rolling Stone interview the scant memories he has of his father, saying, "All I remember of my dad are these brief, violent flashes of domestic violence, but I don't want to complain about my childhood. I don't hate the guy." Rogan became estranged from his father and hasn't seen him since he was little. Since he's found a platform and word of his father's violent behavior became public, his dad spoke out in his own defense. He took to TikTok to deny Joe's allegations and call his son out for his comments.
"If you can't talk to me face to face, you're a punk ass."
Joe's sister joined in and also refuted her brother's accusations, explaining how he was taken away from their home at a young age and didn't really know their father. Joe Rogan had a turbulent childhood due to his father's violent behavior. He was only 5 years old when his parents divorced, and the way he's described them, they couldn't be any more different. While he described his father as an abusive, violent man, his mother was more of a free spirit. After the divorce, she remarried a man with long hair, who gave Rogan marijuana to try when he was 8. Rogan remembers his mother embracing the hippie counterculture of the time, telling Rolling Stone, "My mom would go over to the neighbors and get naked with them and play the bongos and smoke pot." The divorce and his calamitous upbringing weighed heavily on Rogan, and it significantly impacted his development. His mother moved them around for a bit, first to San Francisco and then to Gainesville, Florida when he was 11. After that, the family settled in Newton, Upper Falls, Massachusetts, where Rogan attended high school. When he was 14, Rogan found an escape from his turbulent childhood in martial arts. Focusing on Taekwondo, Rogan worked hard and trained to compete, and he was pretty good.
I was always training. I wasn't doing anything.
Yeah.
He won the U.S. Open Taekwondo Championship when he was 19 and looked to be on the fast track to becoming a professional martial artist. Unfortunately, his plans were derailed when he was 21. Rogan started experiencing headaches, and the condition worsened with time. As things progressed, he became concerned about his health. He was forced to stop competing, ending his career in martial arts shortly after it began to pick up steam. Of course, while he couldn't compete, Rogan didn't abandon martial arts altogether. In fact, he is a self-described martial arts fanatic. In an interview with Black Belt magazine, Rogan explained how important martial arts is in his life, saying, "I wouldn't have achieved anything in life without martial arts. Martial arts was definitely the best vehicle for me to develop my human potential. I developed so much discipline and so much insight about life that I don't think I really would have learned otherwise." He went on to compare his experience as a fighter to other sports, saying, "You can learn some of those lessons from regular sports, but I don't think you have the same heightened sense of danger and the reward for winning. I just don't think I would have been the same person had I not done martial arts." Over the years, Rogan has lost several close friends to substance abuse, murder, and suicide. One of the most notable of these losses was his news radio co-star, Phil Hartman. The friendship Rogan and Hartman developed was strong, and Rogan saw the terrible situation Hartman had at home with his wife, Bryn. He spent a lot of time trying to convince Hartman to leave Bryn, but he stayed for their children. Speaking on the Nerdist podcast, Rogan explained how Phil and Bryn's relationship worsened over time, and all he could do was watch from the sidelines. On May 28, 1998, Bryn found Phil in bed and shot and killed him. After this, she turned the gun on herself, dying by suicide. Hartman's death was mourned by millions, but for those close to him, it was devastating. Decades later, Rogan lost another friend in Anthony Bourdain. Reportedly, the pair's bond was so tight, Bourdain's wife referred to the comedian as her husband's boyfriend. Sadly, Bourdain was found dead in Strasbourg, France, while he was filming an episode of Parts Unknown. News of Bourdain's death hit Rogan hard, and he took to the Joe Rogan Experience podcast to talk about their friendship and the painful loss.
Yeah. Well, what was really weird was he had been saying really recently that he'd never been happier.
The former Fear Factor host explained that he had trouble moving on and kept an old phone charged just because it had texts from Bourdain on it. What pained Rogan most about Bourdain's death was that the podcaster believes he could have prevented it had he only been there to help.